not as successful as you want because your gym doesn't do these 4 things to put you in the top 1% of the field. Lucky for you, today we're gonna identify these 4 things and start taking action to move you in the right direction. My name is Mark Fisher from Business for Unicorns, and I can tell you, if your gym isn't doing these things every day, you're gonna be pretty frustrated. At the very least, you're not gonna be seeing the level of success that you envisioned when you opened up your gym. In a worst case scenario, you are absolutely slogging it from paycheck to paycheck and debt is mounting month over month. Or maybe you're doing just okay, but you can't seem to get any forward momentum. You're stuck in a plateau, you're living in this no man's land, and you're starting to get kind of freaked out because if you can't get this fixed, if you can't figure how to move things in the right direction, at a certain point, you're just gonna toss in the towel and walk away and close your gym. And we don't want that. We want you to be like the top performing gym owners that see revenue growth month over month. You want a growing number of clients who value what you offer, are grateful to be working with you, and whose lives you are meaningfully impacting. But in order to do that, you have to fix this. So I'm gonna cover these today, and if you find that you are not doing these things every single day at your gym, we need to make some plans and you start taking action. So before we dig in here, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about a client I've mentioned before. It is my pal, Rich. Rich is an awesome guy, a great gym owner. And as you might recall from previous shares of his story, before he and I started working together very intensively, he was getting about 2 trials per month. And then that turned into 23 sold trials over a 6-week period, which included the holidays. So here's what I don't think I have emphasized properly in the past. Certainly, it is true that we applied better strategies. And certainly it's also true, those strategies were rolled out and executed better. But here's the thing. The most important part of this was just doing the work day in and day out. It's something that is a source of chuckles, and I say that with love, among people that do what I do, that ultimately, listen, at the end of the day, I am all for having proven strategies, playbooks. I think that stuff matters because oftentimes for gym owners, that's the barrier. You're just not sure what to do. So I totally get that. But if you take away nothing from this video, it's that a subpar strategy done with savage discipline every single day will always massively outperform an amazing strategy that you do once every week or two. Because we understand this. We run gyms, right? We understand fitness. If you have a client that is working out with a beautifully designed program and they have a beautifully structured meal plan, but they only follow it 1, 2, maybe 3 days over several weeks, you wouldn't expect them to get very good results. And in practice, if you had a client with a really crappy program, not terrible, but not amazing diet, but they were doing it pretty consistently and dialing in their sleep, obviously the latter client is gonna get better results. So by all means, yes, let's be efficient, let's make sure we're doing the right things, and let's make sure we're doing them well, but let's remember that the foundation this is all based on is doing them all consistently. Without further ado, here are 4 things that successful gyms do every single day, at least 5 days a week. Marketing activities. We are generating and nurturing new leads. We're growing that audience. Lead follow-up. Once people express a meaningful interest, whether they inquire about your services, maybe they sign up for a trial, we take action to make sure they get either into the facility or at least into the sales conversation. Sales conversations. We always have sales conversations every single day. And here is the big pro tip, because this is one that everyone seems to miss. If you don't have the opportunity to do one with a prospect, we gotta be role playing. More in a moment. And then finally, yes, to state what is probably obvious, but bears saying out loud, we deliver awesome sessions. Every single day, the sessions are awesome because quite frankly, you can be awesome at marketing and lead follow-up and sales, but if you suck and the sessions aren't good, well, they're not gonna stick around because that's the thing that you sell. So let's unpack these a little bit more. So when we're talking about marketing activities, I tend to think of it in 2 big buckets. There are the things that are gonna help more people know that you exist. And then there are the activities that are going to really develop some likability and credibility so that people start to see you as someone credible, see you as an expert, see you as someone they can relate to, and that your gym is a business that they're willing to hire. And I just wanna make the point that those are sometimes the same, but often those are different activities, right? So think about this. Things like, paid digital ads, having a joint business partner email about your business to their list, sending out direct mailings, having a booth at a local farmer's market. Those are activities that are gonna allow more people that didn't previously know you existed to now know that you exist. And that is good, but that's just the first step. After that, we have another bucket of activities that are gonna allow you over time to develop likability and credibility. Now, here's one nuance that's important to understand. There is a lot of research to suggest something is going to be in play here called the mere exposure effect, which basically means that when people see you and hear about you a lot, over time, they just kind of come to like you more because they're used to you. You become the go-to name in your market because they see you in all the places. So to be clear, a strategy is only a no strategy the very first time they know you exist, because they can't unknow you exist unless you're horribly boring. And then after people know you exist, some of these strategies might help support them taking action. So as an example, maybe they found out about you through something like a farmer's market, and then they got a direct mailing from you 2 weeks later, and then they saw a Facebook ad a couple weeks after that. So to be clear, no strategies can sometimes support likability and credibility because of the mere exposure effect. However, classically, when I'm talking about building the relationship, likability and credibility, usually now we're talking about providing value building content to an audience that has given you permission to have some communication with them. Most commonly, this is done through email marketing and organic social media. Though, depending on your market, some gyms might have some success with things like podcasts, YouTubes, etc. Now, again, there's a lot of nuance I don't have time to go in here to today, and lucky for you, if you check out, we have a whole marketing playlist where I go in perhaps nauseating detail about all of these things. But here's your key takeaway. You have to do this every day. That's the thing that I see missing. Listen, I'm all for efficiency. I'm all for batching, but I have to say there's something about the practice of doing this the right way that most of you are going to do better off than trying to do all of your marketing activities once per week. The second thing that mega successful gyms do every day is they follow up with the lead. So this is, again, one of the most common mistakes I see when I start working with the gym is you spend all this time and effort helping people find out you exist, and you work so hard at this, and they find out you exist, and maybe they even reach out. They're very qualified. They're raising their hand. They're saying, okay, I'm interested in knowing what you want to do more. What would be the way to get started? And maybe they opt in through a landing page for some trial offer, or right off the homepage of your website, and then the ball gets dropped. So we have to be following up with leads every single day. Now, admittedly, if you're not getting enough leads in the first place, and you only have 2 leads per month, well, okay, then that could start to get annoying. But then our issue is a little further up the funnel, so to speak. We just need to be better at generating leads in the first place. Even smaller, small group training gyms in rural markets that are slowly scaling up, that don't have a lot of bandwidth yet, are hopefully getting at least 5, 10 qualified leads per week on average. And not only that, but if you've ever watched any of my previous videos, you'll know there's an opportunity to follow up with what are sometimes called aged leads, which are people that opted in but never responded, or for any number of reasons didn't take the action to come in for a trial, or even former clients I could put under this bucket. So if our first activity is generating new leads and nurturing leads, the second activity is starting conversations. These could be, again, our priority here is always going to be people that have recently expressed meaningful interest in coming in for a trial or a sales conversation. But in the event that you don't have enough of those, there's always people you can be talking to, right? One strategy that I think is really worth considering that more and more people are having a lot of success with is having conversations with people that follow you or comment with your stuff on Instagram. Now, to be clear, I think there are a lot of people, particularly in the online fitness business space, that will advocate doing things like sending out hundreds of cold DMs per day. Probably not a fan of that, but if somebody has already followed your page, or they've reacted to a story or engaged with a poll, I just want to highlight that as one pro tip worth considering, and it is something, keep your eyes peeled. I will likely do more content on this year, because I do think some of our members of the Unicorn side are seeing a lot of great results by spending part of their day every day just having conversations, right? Because conversations equal conversions. Now, how many times should you be reaching out to fresh new leads? I'll just say very briefly, I think in the first 14 days, we want to be touching people at least 10 to 15 times over any number of channels. So we're doing some calls, some texts, and some emails, because different people like to be communicated with differently. If they don't want to hear from you, trust, they'll tell you. And also understand you're going to have a certain percentage of people say, shut up, leave me alone. Because some people, even though they opted into your gym and they express the interest, they just don't want to be contacted. I know it's like weird. And you just have to accept that's going to happen sometime. But if you're committed to helping as many people as you can, you have to understand the lion's share of people opted in and then just got busy. So do them a favor. Don't ignore them. Be a good coach. Keep following up with them. And quick pro tip, one of the ways people will raise their hand and express interest is is by you making some kind of offer. Having said that, if you're looking for a list of awesome offers, you can click the link in the description box below, and that will allow you to quickly think through the different kinds of offers you can make for different kinds of audiences. I think you'll find it super, super valuable, so do be sure to go and check that out. And now we're on to the third thing that mega successful gyms do every day, and that is sales role plays and sales conversations. Now, as I alluded to up front, here is another massive missed opportunity. I can just about guarantee 99% of you are not doing this, and it is why you are not in the top 1% of performing gyms. And that is drilling sales conversations every day. And your secret is you might not have an actual sales conversation with a prospect every day, but we should be role playing it every day. Again, I keep saying every day. I mean 5 days per week. Take some days off, for the love of God. So yeah, listen, I get it. A lot of you are probably listening and you're saying, hey, Mark, okay, I'm a small gym. I just opened up. I have a small facility. It's just me. I'm only getting, 1 or 2, maybe 3 sales conversations per week. Fantastic. And as you know, because you understand training, listen, you wouldn't expect someone to get good at training if they only train once every week. You have to practice, you have to get the reps in. So one of the things that you'll need to find some way to do is do regular sales role plays. Now, this could be someone on your team. If you are a member of the Unicorn Society, obviously, what a lot of our members do is they get sales accountability buddies, and they on a regular basis have somebody else to drill with so that they get these reps in and they can get some feedback. Because of course, if you're only doing your sales conversations with the clients, certainly you can look at conversion percentages to understand how well am I doing. But you're not really getting outside feedback. Now, admittedly, you could find a way to record those conversations and give yourself some feedback, and that's super cool. But in my experience, if you really want to get great at sales, you have to actually practice and get feedback. You have to work on the craft of the way the script is structured, how you deliver it, and that's not gonna happen in game day. That's only gonna happen in practice. So I know that one can be super frustrating maybe for some of you. You're like, I can't fit enough time in. And listen, I get this time is a constraint, but all in all, you should be able to get the first 3 of these done in no more than 90 minutes per day. If you spend 30 minutes on each of these, you'll be way ahead of the class. If you have bandwidth to spend more, that's amazing. And remember, notably, this isn't what successful gym owners do, it's what successful gyms do. So over time, ideally, you can scale this a little bit. You can have other people help at least with some pieces of this so you're not doing it all alone. But this is part of the most high value task you can do if you want the biz to grow month over month. If that's what you want, we have to be doing things to help the business grow. Now, we're on to the 4th and final piece, and that is running awesome sessions. Now, as I promised at the very beginning of this video, a lot of the magic here is just doing the thing every single day. Even if the thing is not very good, if you just do it consistently, you'll get better results than not doing it consistently. However, sessions, I want to acknowledge, are a little bit different because here's the thing. Unlike marketing activities or lead follow-up or sales role plays, you're not going to forget to do your sessions, I assume. That's usually not an issue. You probably are doing the sessions every day if they're scheduled. If not, we got real problems. I can't help you. But I believe in you. I think you're probably showing up to your sessions and or your team is doing them. The bad news is, real talk, it's not a given that your sessions are truly, truly awesome. Particularly if you've had some scale and you have other people join you, because in practice, most people you hire are not going to be necessarily as good as you. That's just the way this works. There's going to be some degradation. Now, digging into the weeds on this, again, is beyond the scope of this video. This is something we spend a lot of time with our members of the Unicorn Society. And I got to highlight this. I'll tell you why I think this is such a big mistake for a lot of gym owners, because most gym owners think their services are great and they're not. And I hate to be real blunt with you, but that's really the case. It's just not that amazing. And you'll know if it is because your business will be growing like a wildfire with word of mouth, because you'll be so busy because people are dragging their friends by their hair in. Now, assuming your sessions are maybe just okay or maybe just good, that's okay, because we can also improve them. So this particular thing that mega successful gyms do every day is the one where you really do have to think about, okay, how do I improve what we're doing on an ongoing basis? And I would note, like anything else in life, if you're not trying to make it better over time, it's gonna slowly get worse. That's just the way the world works. Entropy! So because I wanna give you some things to think about, I wanna offer you the way we tend to think about this in Unicorn Society. When we're talking about the delivering of the sessions themselves, there are two related SOPs, or standard operating procedures, that I think matter, and they might be together depending on the way you've set up your gym in a single sheet. But ultimately, there are a set of things that need to happen every session in regards to customer service. Examples here might be greet people by name as soon as they walk in the door, or Ask them at the end of the session to reflect on how the session went on a scale of 1 to 10 and what's one thing they might think about in the next session. The other bucket of things that must happen in every session are the technical fulfillment of the training, right? So hopefully we're already having a good, well-designed program that's a part of your system, but then do you and your coaches consistently understand how to give good technical coaching? Now, at the Unicorn Society, we work with certified functional strength coach. We think they are the gold standard for this kind of training. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about certified functional strength coach, go ahead, click the link in the description box below, but understand you have to spend some of the time for you and your team making sure that we have a clear set of standards for technical fitness excellence, because frankly, that A is necessary for the results your clients are gonna need. But honestly, if we're real talking, the results that people get from fitness are long tail, and people are never really gonna notice the injuries they don't get from good training. However, they will notice from a customer service perspective that you and your team are feeling competent and are giving them actual coaching. So that's gonna make the session actually feel more fun. So let's make sure that you're considering every day, not only that you're doing the sessions, but you have a clear set of customer service standards that are always consistent, always happening, and that the training product itself is very, very, very good. All right, friends, so I will pull up there. I hope this was valuable. This truly is something that I think can absolutely change the trajectory of your gym if you're feeling stuck, because just like training, it's really just a matter of doing the work day in and day out. Now, if you want some help here and you're looking for a list of offers, because that's a lot of what we need to do to really shake the fruit from the tree, so to speak, make sure you click the link in the description box below. I think you're gonna find it an awesome list. When you're considering your marketing, you will understand what kind of offers you can make to people to have them show up and take action, raise their hand, and then follow up with them, get them in there, have the sales conversations, and then deliver awesome sessions. Now, your very first thing to do, if I would just give you just one thing, let's work on the time management piece. Let's put in your schedule right now, look in the week ahead, maybe the next 2 weeks ahead, and I want you to schedule 90 dedicated minutes where you're gonna do marketing activities, you're gonna follow up with leads, both your freshies and your age leads, and you're going to either do a sales conversation or role play. Do them every single day. All right, friends, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in finding out more about how Business for Unicorns help gym owners just like you create more income, more impact, and more freedom, go ahead, click the link for the Unicorn Society in the description box below, where you can also conveniently find a lot of other free resources, including our podcast, our Instagram page. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe to this here YouTube channel. Thanks so much, as always, for watching. My name is Mark Fisher. I'll see you next time for more actionable tips, psychological frameworks, and philosophy.